Welcome to Motherland Origins, where we tell honest stories of Africa. Africa grows the cocoa that the world loves, yet for generations it has watched others reap most of the rewards, stretching from the lush forests of Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana to the cocoa farms of Nigeria, Cameroon, Uganda, and beyond. The African continent produces nearly 80% of the world's cocoa beans. Côte d'Ivoire alone supplies more than 40% of global production, while Ghana consistently ranks amongst the world's top producers. Together, these nations form the beating heart of the global chocolate industry. And yet, despite producing the overwhelming majority of its most essential ingredients, Africa captures only a tiny fraction of the industry's wealth. Today, the global chocolate industry is worth well over $100 billion each year. Yet, African cocoa producing countries collectively retain only around 3 to 5% of that value. The remaining 95% is generated elsewhere, as cocoa beans are transformed into chocolate, branded, packaged, marketed, and sold by multinational companies headquartered thousands of kilometers away. This imbalance did not happen by chance. During the colonial era, European powers designed African economies to export raw materials rather than manufacture finished products. Railways, ports, and commercial networks were built with one purpose: to move cocoa beans from African farms to European factories. There, the beans would be roasted, ground, refined, and transformed into products worth many times their original value before being sold across the world. When independence came, the political map changed, but the economic structure remained remarkably similar. Today, millions of African farmers continue to cultivate cocoa on small family-owned farms, often just a few hectares in size. Their work is physically demanding, their harvests vulnerable to weather and disease, and their incomes dependent on volatile global commodity prices. Yet, once their beans leave Africa, the greatest profits are earned not by the farmers who grew them, but by the companies that process, manufacture, brand, and retail chocolate. The reason is simple. The cocoa bean itself represents only a small portion of the price of a chocolate bar. The real money lies further up the value chain, in processing, product development, branding, marketing, and global retail distribution. Building those industries is neither simple nor inexpensive. Chocolate manufacturing demands reliable electricity, modern factories, food laboratories, specialized equipment, efficient transport networks, and access to affordable financing. It also requires internationally recognized brands capable of competing with giants that have spent decades building consumer trust and global distribution networks. As a result, even though Africa produces most of the world's cocoa, countries across Europe and North America continue to dominate the chocolate business. But this story is beginning to change. Governments in Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Nigeria have increasingly invested in domestic cocoa processing, while African entrepreneurs are building premium chocolate brands that showcase the continent's own cocoa rather than exporting it for others to profit from. Madagascar, despite producing relatively small quantities, has earned an international reputation for some of the world's finest bean-to-bar chocolate, proving that value can sometimes matter more than volume. Perhaps the most ambitious efforts to rewrite Africa's place in global trade came in June 2025, when African leaders adopted the Abuja Declaration on Sustainable Cocoa. The declaration represents a historic commitment by cocoa-producing nations to move beyond simply exporting raw beans. Instead, they pledged to expand local processing, encourage chocolate manufacturing within Africa, improve conditions for farmers, eliminate child labor, strengthen environmental sustainability, and coordinate policies across producing countries. If successfully implemented, the declaration could fundamentally reshape the economics of the cocoa trade. Rather than competing solely to sell raw cocoa at the lowest price, African nations could begin capturing far greater value by processing more of their harvests at home, creating manufacturing industries, generating skilled jobs, and building globally recognized African chocolate brands. It also offers producing countries a stronger collective voice in negotiations with multinational buyers, giving them greater influence over pricing and the future direction of the industry. The challenges remain enormous. Infrastructure must be expanded, investment must increase, Local industries must compete against some of the world's most powerful food companies. But for the first time in decades, Africa's leading cocoa-producing nations are pursuing a shared vision, not simply to field the world's chocolate industry, but to become major players within it. For generations, Africa has supplied the world's cocoa while others enjoyed most of its rewards. The next chapter may determine whether the continent continues exporting beans or finally begins exporting value that guarantees prosperity. If you enjoyed this episode of Motherland Origins, make sure to like and share our videos while subscribing to our various social media platforms. Thank you for watching. See you soon.